Nelson Mandela.
The people are not free.
We will fight for our freedom.
This is the story of one man's rise from a rural South African village to become the face of a global movement. A man whose name came to represent freedom, justice, and relentless courage. This is Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. A sweeping historical journey through the trials, the fire, and the hope of Nelson Mandela. The film opens in the lush green valleys of the Eastern Cape, where a young Ralilela Mandela grows up in the Thembu royal family. Raised among tradition and community, young Mandela learns about leadership not through force, but by watching elders resolve disputes with reason and diplomacy. As a boy, he's curious, observant, and proud of his Xhosa heritage. But when he's sent to a Methodist school, the British colonial education system changes his path forever. He's given a new name, Nelson. Cut to his early adult years, Mandela moves to Johannesburg and is immediately struck by the systemic inequality of apartheid. Despite the vibrant culture of the city, he sees black South Africans forced into submission, humiliated, and stripped of rights. Working as a law clerk while studying, Mandela begins to understand that the fight ahead will require more than just education, it will take resistance. Mandela becomes one of the first black lawyers in Johannesburg. Alongside his friend Oliver Tambo, he starts defending those the apartheid regime deems criminals, black workers, protesters, and victims of racial injustice. As police brutality and systemic oppression intensify, Mandela joins the African National Congress. Initially committed to non-violent protest, Mandela's views shift when peaceful marches are met with gunfire and death. He realizes, if the state uses violence to maintain its grip, then resistance must evolve. The camera follows Mandela as he rallies communities, inspires speeches, and becomes a leader within the ANC Youth League. Yet, even as his reputation grows, so does the scrutiny. Amidst the revolution, Mandela finds love in Evelyn Mays. But the burdens of activism are heavy. As Mandela spends more time organizing, their marriage strains. Eventually, Evelyn leaves him, unable to bear the constant fear and chaos that follow her husband. Soon after, Mandela meets Winnie Madikizela. Fierce, passionate, and just as committed to the cause, Winnie becomes Mandela's second wife and partner in resistance. They share a deep bond, raising 2 daughters and standing united against a government that seeks to destroy their spirit, but their union, too, is forged in fire. Every meeting, every dinner, every night's sleep is haunted by police surveillance, harassment, and looming arrest. Then comes the Sharpeville massacre. Over 60 unarmed black protesters are gunned down by police. It shocks the world and shakes Mandela to his core. This is a turning point. Mandela and the ANC can no longer afford to play by the rules of an oppressive regime. The ANC is banned. Mandela goes underground, he adopts disguises, evades police, and travels to neighboring countries seeking military training and support. The freedom fighter known as the Black Pimpernel is born. He helps form the armed wing of the ANC, Umkhonto we Sizwe, or Spear of the Nation. Their strategy, sabotage, not slaughter. Mandela refuses to kill, but he believes infrastructure must fall to make the government listen. Eventually, Mandela is captured. His arrest is no accident, the state is watching closely. In 1964, he stands trial for sabotage in the Rivonia trial, alongside his comrades. This is where Mandela delivers one of the most powerful speeches in history. He tells the court, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." These words echo through the courtroom. The world listens. The judge does not sentence him to death, but hands down a life sentence. Mandela is sent to Robben Island. His next chapter begins, one of survival, endurance, and unwavering spirit. At Robben Island, Mandela is stripped of every freedom, confined to a small cell, forced into labor at a limestone quarry. But prison doesn't break him, it refines him. He educates fellow inmates, debates with guards, and transforms prison into a battleground of ideas. His will becomes stronger than stone. Meanwhile, Winnie becomes the face of resistance on the outside. Harassed, imprisoned, and tortured, she refuses to surrender. But the toll is immense, and over time, her methods become more militant, more controversial. Years turn to decades. Mandela becomes a symbol, seen no longer as a man, but a myth. His image is banned, his name whispered like a secret, yet his influence only grows. The 1980s bring change. International pressure mounts. Sanctions hit South Africa hard. Celebrities, nations, and students rally. Free Nelson Mandela becomes a global chant. Inside the prison walls, Mandela senses a shift. The apartheid government begins to realize that Mandela's voice can no longer be silenced. Perhaps it must be negotiated with. The film follows backdoor talks, secret meetings, and tense standoffs. Mandela is moved to a different facility, allowed more visits, and given chances to speak, quietly, cautiously, but he never compromises his principles. Freedom for only a few is no freedom at all. As apartheid begins to crumble, the question is no longer if Mandela will be released, but when, and on whose terms. Tensions rise. The world watches. And Nelson Mandela prepares not just for freedom, but for leadership. Fade out with a shot of Mandela standing in his cell, gazing through the bars, not with defeat, but with vision. Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom is more than a biopic. It is a chronicle of pain, resilience, and transformation. It reminds us that freedom is never free, and the long road to justice is walked not by the strongest, but by the most determined. Love the recap? Show some love, like, comment, share it around, and smash that subscribe button for more recaps just like this.